My unit plan is for fifth grade English and is based on The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate, which is a wonderful book. The One and Only Ivan is based on the true story of a gorilla named Ivan who was kept in a mall in Washington before being advocated to be moved to a zoo. He recently passed away and he became a very much loved animal. And so Katherine Applegate was inspired to write this story from his perspective based on his life. So what I did for this unit plan was that I divided the book up into sections of reading. Since it's a fairly easy book to read, there's about 50 pages per section for the kids to read a night, which sounds like a lot, but with the way that the text is set up, it's actually not a lot of writing or reading. And the multiple intelligences that I have mostly integrated into this unit is visual, auditory, naturalistic, intrapersonal, and interpersonal. The visual is integrated with notebooks, YouTube videos, a Nearpod presentation, a lot of graphics, and some bookmarks. Auditory is YouTube videos and the Nearpod. Naturalistic is with the animal studies we'll be doing, looking at zoos and habitats. Intrapersonal is because we have personal observations in notebooks. And then interpersonal is the discussion questions. The technology I mostly used is Nearpod, a lot of websites and articles I'll be presenting to the class, the San Diego Zoo website, looking at videos of animals and their habitats, and then YouTube videos. So in my class, I pretended that I have a student named Sarah who has cerebral palsy. And so for her, I would have a wheelchair. She needs a wheelchair to get into the classroom. And so since she has spastic CP, she has some difficulty walking because of the tight muscles in her hips and legs. So she has her own wheelchair, and I have a spot for her at the front of the room. She does not normally have trouble in classrooms. She enjoys class discussions, and her peers are respectful toward her. But she also has adaptive writing tools called a Steady Writer, which helps her write clearly and without much difficulty since she cannot control her movements very well. And I help her situate her wheelchair and retrieve materials from her backpack every day. So the biblical application I had throughout this unit is that we will be discussing how animals should be treated based on scripture. I have some articles about how Christians and animals relate to each other and the importance of God creating animals. And then I have some modern Christian thinking about animals I will discuss with the students throughout the unit plan, and we have some scripture verses picked out. The scripture verses will be especially helpful when they go to write their persuasive essays at the end of the unit because they will need to integrate a biblical application into their persuasive essays. The digital citizenship aspect of this unit is not exactly explicit, but basically what I have for it is that we will be discussing how the media portrays animals and the actions of people against them as advocacy for animal rights became more popular around the time of Ivan. So essentially, this unit just consists of the students reading the section and then coming to class, and we will be discussing it, looking at different media like YouTube videos and articles, the Nearpod presentation, and then discussing how we should think about animals and how Ivan's perspective in this book influences the students' feelings toward animals as well. I thoroughly enjoyed this book when I read it the first time, and I would highly recommend it to any teacher for a classroom. And I think it would be a lot of fun to teach in a fifth grade classroom. I personally think that this book creates a very open-minded and empathetic feeling toward both humans and animals in their relationships, especially considering that now animals are seen as lower beings than humans in the sense that we can exploit them and kill them as we see fit. There's not that feeling from Genesis where we have dominion over the animals, but we are called to take care of them and to care for them, not to exploit them or kill them. I ended up buying this really great unit packet from Teachers Pay Teachers and using some of the resources the woman included in it, but most of this was from my own research, and I'm really proud of how this unit turned out. I have to say that I have a much bigger appreciation for teachers in the sense that they have to do a lot of their own research in creating lesson plans and unit plans. And even though I think when you become an expert teacher, you don't have to plan this deeply, as in looking at all the components and putting them together on a piece of paper as succinctly, you still have to do so much work. And what I appreciate is that once we get the hang of teaching, we'll be able to incorporate technological standards and state standards, Common Core standards, a lot more fluently without having to stumble around on the internet wondering what the heck we're actually doing. I look forward to doing more research for unit plans in the future and seeing what beautiful things that we can come up with as teachers.